Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
I am very well. I was just playing Roblox, if you know what that is.
No, not, is that a game?
It's a it's an online game that all the 9-year-olds on the planet are playing. Now I'm playing
Mhm.
it too.
Oh, is that a Wii game or a Switch game or something?
It's on the iPad, and it's kind of like it's a role playing type of game, and it's kind of like The Sims in a way,
Okay.
mixed
Yeah.
with a role playing game.
Okay. Well, that those are old games to play.
They are, yeah. I'm a Sims fan myself.
I mean, those are good times when they lasted.
Yes, when one did not have responsibilities to distract oneself, which I do now.
Well, thanks for doing this with me.
My pleasure.
So, you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Um, just me as a human being on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my name's Daniel. I'm 41 years young, and living here in Toronto, Canada. I'm a husband. I'm a gay dad. I'm an gunkle. Um, I gay uncle. I work in um, the film industry, and historically I have, and and doing consulting for people in the film industry, um, and doing some other entrepreneurial business ventures as well right now. So I'm here enjoying a lot of snow and cold temperatures here in Toronto.
Well, it's cold weather here in Kansas City. It's
I
really
heard that there's been even snow. Another podcast I was on the other day was in they're in Birmingham, and there was snow there. It's
I don't know
Alabama.
the weather is crazy out here.
Yeah, the Midwest.
Yeah. So how did you get into the filming fields?
Well, I had a I I've always been kind of a performer, I would say, and so I when I was in school, I was in plays and acting, and did skits. I kind of had a dream to be on Saturday Night Live at one point, um, and wrote skits, and then decided to apply to film school here in Toronto rather than acting school, because I thought for every one person who makes it big in front of the screen, there's 100 people behind the camera helping them do that, and I just thought the chances of my getting a job and some security made more sense for me to kind of do something behind the camera. So I went to a place called Ryerson University here, and got my bachelor's in film studies. And at the end of that, I had art directed three. My final year, I had art directed three student films and had made my own 24-minute documentary film. And from there, I got my foot in the door at a post production, a film lab actually, in between my third and fourth year. Just I knew I would need an advantage to kind of be one step ahead of the rest of my class that was graduating, who'd all be looking for jobs. I tried to do it a step earlier and took just a little evening receptionist job at the film lab, but it ended up turning to a 5-year um, changing roles and jobs there, but a 5 year period of time at that company. So it really helped ground me in the industry very early on and out of school.
Do you have a favorite film you worked on?
That I've worked on. Well, I mean, I did maybe when was that? 2014. I finally made a film again out of film school. I worked in the film industry, but I hadn't made a film. So I ended up producing and art directing a short dance film with a filmmaker that I met at one of the film festivals I was working at, and we got along quite well. So yeah, it's a 14-minute film called Ruptura, which is a story about a couple and then dealing with the mental health issues of one of them, all told through a narrative using dance. So there's no talking, there's just music and dance. And it's just kind of following their relationship and coming to terms with, the mental health challenges of one of them. So it's
I
played
think
at a
I
couple
put
festivals.
some of the movies that were on your website, the Water Walker or something.
Yeah. So those are ones that haven't produced, but there's The Water Walker and Queen of the Morning Calm, which are two films that I've been doing promotions for. So for The Water Walker, it's a short film about a Indigenous youth water advocate located here in Canada, and her work as she's speaking at the United Nations. So I'm helping with a festival strategy for that. That is figuring out the goals of the film and a process of picking which film festivals you might want to send your film to, depending how it fits into the different genres of film festivals, and then helping them apply and going through that process, and hopefully it playing somewhere along in those films. So it's played it. It's been accepted into about 8 festivals, so that's a pretty good run for them so far. And it only came out in September, so still has lots more to go. And the other film is Queen of the Morning Calm, which is a Korean Canadian mother-daughter story about a woman who is living in kind of the seedy underbelly of Toronto, and how she paves a way of life, or to escape a way of life that and cycle of poverty that she and her daughter are in. So I've done the promotions for that. It's played at a lot of film festivals. It actually played in a theater before we had a lockdown, and it's now on iTunes and being broadcast and on Vimeo and Apple TV. So helping promote that.
You think that's going to be on Netflix? You think?
I don't think so. I haven't talked to the distributor. Hasn't said that they are in talks with them right now. They're working on a United States distribution right now. So they've done Canada, but they're looking into screening it in the United States.
So, like, what's the are you working on any charities?
Am I working with any charities?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not. I've spent a large portion of my professional career working at film festivals, which are nonprofit charitable organizations. So even though they don't seem like a charity, you can donate and get a tax receipt to support their causes, and they all have different missions and mandates. So I was most recently at one that supported Indigenous film and media arts. So that's film, video, audio, and digital interactive work made by Indigenous people, and celebrating that talent behind the camera or behind the screen, so to speak. So yeah, I was doing professional development support for those artists there, and worked in that system and helped get funding for them to do that.
So I saw you're designing a t-shirt line.
among many things. Yeah, I could talk about that a bit if you like.
Yeah, you should, yeah, I would like to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah, it's so this is a, as we're all trying to pivot in this lovely pandemic, I kind of had a light bulb go off, where I was trying to figure out what other skills, or what skills do I have, and what communities am I aware of, or that I've worked in or live in, that I could maybe think about a different career path. And so uh, I'm, I'm a member of the queer community as a gay guy, and I'm also a dad. And so I have a 9-year-old son. And I thought, what, in that world, is there something where my lived experience could could help? So I kind of had a light bulb go off in December, where I am in a lot of gay dad Facebook groups, and just realized that there's a lot of buying power and influence just by that group alone, let alone, other queer parents, um, with other gender identities, that, um, you know, just even as I saw around Christmas, that people were posting pictures of celebrating the holidays, and it's, you know, uh, these dads posting pictures of their beautiful home and their beautiful kids, all in coordinated pajamas or coordinated Christmas outfits that
Yeah,
these families love to do. And I thought, and it was just pages and pages of these people celebrating, and always, everyone commenting, and just like so much, that I realized just the buying power. If I could harness just like, even gay dads next Christmas are going to want new outfits. If they want to support me, let's say myself, what if I started a pajama line? Wouldn't they rather their money be going to me rather than to Kmart, or going to, wherever they're buying those things at, the other online stores? They knew that they were supporting another gay dad. That's kind of harnessing that whole community to potentially support that. Hopefully I can be competitive with my prices or designs, or make it fun, and the way that they would like. So that's the work I'm doing now. But that's just one product,
yeah,
or one set of, one permutation of the whole queer spectrum. And so I thought, why don't I just kind of, I came up with something called, like, I started Instagram called Gay Gifting. I was thinking about, giving gifts. Like, how does a gay dad give something to his sister, like his heterosexual sister's daughter? Or like, how could my sister, who's heterosexual, give something to her cool gay brother? Like, how can I create like a community and a portal where people can go to find queer positive products, and hopefully owned and run by. So that's the plan. So I mean, it's called the Queer Shopping Network, thequeershoppingnetwork.com, and I just launched it a couple of weeks ago, and planning to do an official launch closer to the Pride Festival season in May or so. So I'm going to be working on new products, new kind of outreach, doing different types of packages for families wanting to celebrate, whether it's in person or virtually. How can you kind of have your own Pride kit, and offering those on the site, and also connecting with Pride festivals and seeing if they'll support um, these types of packages. And yeah, a queer positive company owns and runs. So that's, yeah, that's kind of, so it is t-shirts, but it's sweaters, it's dog tags, it's, I'm kind of starting with some handbags, leisure beach bag type things, all kind of based around, the rainbow theme, which is very prevalent, and, kind of obvious, but I'm kind of putting a more graphic design onto those things, where I think it's kind of been, I don't know. I feel like a lot of those designs are kind of stuck in 1998, like in Queer as Folk. Like a lot of the stores are kind of still make things that are design wise kind of old fashioned. If the 90s is old fashioned. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
kind of modernize the style with these first collections, which are kind of rainbow style.
Is Canada in Toronto? Are they do they have like a gay parade?
Oh yes, second largest, behind New York, at least in North America. So we get about 1 million people coming to celebrate that, and it's a very liberal. I mean, Canada's very liberal, and Toronto has, I think, the most gay families, LGBT families, per capita in the world.
That's nice to know. My cousin is gay,
Hmm.
and then and then my other cousin is, I don't know what she calls herself, but she's in that little round.
Yeah, she's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Maybe doesn't. Some people don't even want to, identify. I mean, I've been doing a lot of kind of self, just education on how gender identity is formed and how to properly, acknowledge and relate to people and how they want to define themselves. And so I'm trying to be like an ally to the trans community to know how to respect their choices and not and refer to them in the right way and understand what their kind of lived experiences are. I just did a webinar a couple weeks ago to learn just how to be a better trans ally, because just because I'm gay doesn't mean I know anything about being trans, and I really don't. This is different as being straight and you know same sex liking. It's just a completely different world, and I just wanted to get more comfortable with it so that way I could support that community when I start doing the queer shopping network stuff. I want to be working and developing those relationships in the right way. So doing some knowledge gathering has been really beneficial.
I mean, there's so many people that are gay, but there's so many parents. Um, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a life. I mean, it's a new life for everybody.
It is. It's a world where everyone, I think wants to show their support. And again, this is why I'm doing the Queer Shopping Network. So it's kind of a portal for queer and queer positive people to come to find ways that they can support their kid, or how do you support your gay grandfather, or like how do I want to, in the same way that me as a parent, I want my kid to have gender neutral toys or perspectives or books. I also want my niece, who is in comes from a heterosexual like upbringing, that she has these resources on her bookshelf, in her toy collection. And we're not going to like the toy store and seeing trucks in blue and LOL dolls in pink, and those are the options. I think there's got to be.
Yeah.
We really want to see. I want to see that variance in kids' offerings. That when they do, when my young niece comes from her small town and comes to the city and comes to her first Pride parade, that it isn't this shocking disconnect. Like she's had no exposure to it. I want it to be something that feels celebratory and positive, and that she's already kind of halfway there in her understanding, then can discover it rather than being, furthering, any stigmas that she only gets through the TV or through, opinions from people in a small town that she might hear in her growing up. I come from a small town. I know how that framing, definitely affected my, self, my self worth, but also just how that, how narrow mindsets can influence your behavior as you grow up. And so I just want the world to be a more loving, caring place. And if I can help kind of be an active agent in that, by providing a space for people to find products to celebrate that will make me very happy.
All right, there's a question I want to say. So what would you say if somebody trying to come out of the closet or
What would I say to them?
you're like, how would you say it? Like, say, like, if somebody was trying to come, like, they haven't told your parents that they're gay. So how would you tell them? How would you say it's okay to come out of closets?
Ah, well, I haven't thought about this in a long time. Um, I mean, what I would say is that I think there are people beyond your parents that can help you in that process and how to do that. I think, every region anywhere has, a alliance, a gay straight alliance, whether it's your school or whether it's one of the larger towns nearby. And things are changing so much. I mean, the way I came out was very different than anyone who would be now. And I just think that there's a network and a support to do that there wasn't in my place. I at the time I didn't really have, it was 1990, I don't know, 96. Um, and there just wasn't that. Ellen hadn't even come out yet. That's how long ago it was. So I think there is a network, and spend some time discovering yourself with people who understand before you do it with people who might have a bit more challenge with it. So that would kind of be my coming out. It doesn't have to be, um, you don't necessarily have to go to those that you love most but fear the most rejection from. I think you can go and discover a community of people who accept you for who you are first before taking that step.
Good to know. Well, when you were telling me about your clothing, your that business, the clothing business, I
Yeah.
was I started a um Facebook and Facebook and Instagram community. It's called Uncles and Fatherhood, and I started that a while ago, but it's
Yeah.
growing, and it's I support gay dads, also supports single dads, uncles, and whoever. Um,
Hmm.
and then I do giveaways and I promote companies and I do giveaways and all that fun stuff. And I have some t-shirts I'm selling as well. I mean, some people are buying them, but not so many. But
Well, yeah, I mean, that's great that you've, like, what was the impetus to be doing that kind of work for you?
because there's not a lot of groups for uncles, for straight uncles.
Yeah. And just what and how they can be good
Like,
uncles, I guess.
yeah, and be good uncles and learn from each other.
Hmm. And how is that going?
Well, I think it's going great because everybody's chatting on well, Instagram, but I mean, and like they're also sharing stories, so that helps too. So everybody in the world can share their story. It could be a gay dad. It could be, mostly are all stories about people with all different problems.
Hmm. Absolutely. Like, I think my experience as a uncle is different than my experience as a dad. I'm I'm trying to support and show love to someone who is growing up in a different space than my son is. They're very close. My one niece and my son are very close, but they're living two very different types of lives. And how do I be a bridge to understanding a more urban, a more diverse life than she is getting in her, um, in her small town existence, or if she is, her venturing out is onto YouTube, how do I help guide her to some things that are beyond Disney's Frozen in terms of role models, and which, I mean, is saying something in itself, because Frozen is a step and a cut above,
Yeah.
movies of my generation for sure. So, um, there it does. I do think about, as an uncle, how do I help influence in a positive way and just help her to be an open person, when she comes from just a limited exposure to different types of things in her life.
Is she young? Or is she a little?
Yeah, she's 8, and a very precocious, animated. I think she should have her own TV show. She's just one of those kind of, could be a star. If the stars aligned. And but yeah, and so very open and very inquisitive to things. So she asks more questions than my son does about anything in the queer spectrum. So that's great. How do I encourage that?
Well, that's
From
good
her?
that they kids are doing that. I mean, I guess a lot of kids are like asking a lot of questions. So I mean, that's kind of good.
My son, not so much, but he doesn't ask as many questions, but she certainly does. So I think she's going to get. She's someone who seeks knowledge and understanding. So I think things will come to her a bit easier, as she comes along.
What kind of music do you like to play when you're in the car?
Oh, I don't know. What day of the week is it? I play everything. I don't know. I'll tell you what I was listening to today. I made a disco. I call it a disco fag mix. So it's kind of new artists doing disco type of songs, or like a remix, like a Lady Gaga remix or a Dua Lipa remix, that are all have disco um, backgrounds to them. So that's what I was listening to today, but I mean, it'll be totally different tomorrow. And I listen to everything. My current obsession is Alex Newell, who is a lovely artist and reminds me of my favorite '90s dance rocking out girl types, and she's kind of has brought that style back, and I really like her.
I might have to check her out.
Alex Newell, Newell. Yeah, she's really great.
I like listening to music because I don't know, it's really, it feels good.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good mood enhancer if you find the right thing and speaks to your mood, for sure.
Um, I mean, I play a lot of, um, well, I have a radio show, like college radio too. So I mean, I do everything, I guess, just keep me busy. But mostly I play a lot of underground bands or musicians or whoever I can get a hold of.
The future. Hey, sometimes it's great just to stay underground.
A lot of artists are trying to get out there.
Yep, for sure.
See what I have on here. Do you have any films that inspire you?
Um, sure. I mean, Um, I don't know. It's funny for someone who like works in film. I don't watch as many movies as I don't know if I should, but I worked at film festivals for 14 years, so I've seen a lot of movies. I definitely have a fondness for stories told by Indigenous filmmakers. I think there's that voice has not been heard in the larger Hollywood system, and I think it's just starting to hit. There's going to actually be some movies coming out that are by Indigenous artists. I'm quite excited about them. There's one called that's playing just having its world premiere in Berlin this month called Night Raiders, and it's going to be a really I think it's going to be a game changer. It's a very strong film. And another one that's come out the last year is called Blood Quantum, which is you know a zombie indigenous zombie movie. So essentially, in a world where zombies have taken over, the Native Americans of North America are the ones that are immune to this transformation, and so it's a story about a group of them holding back, um, a zombie invasion, and how they get through it as a community. So, and it's done quite well. It played at TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival in 2000. What year is it now? 2019, and this came out in theaters in May this year. So I mean, that's a great. If you like horror movies, Blood Quantum is a really great play on the horror trope.
Do you like what kind of movies do you watch with your son?
Um, well, he doesn't really like to watch movies that much. I don't think he has the attention span for it. But we make him watch movies that we used to watch. So, I mean, we're getting through some of the Harry Potter movies right now, but some older movies like Return to Oz, Labyrinth, Neverending Story, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Sound of Music. What else have we watched? I don't know. He doesn't watch a lot. He doesn't watch a lot of movies. I'd say most recently we've been watching the Harry Potter. We've been reading the books. We've gone through book. We're on book 6 right now, just starting book 6. So we're watching the movies to kind of compare what it's like to read a book, and then see how they have to cut it down and what they keep in and what they take out through the storytelling process, which I'm happy to do because I grew up doing film, so I love kind of showing that, giving him a keen eye to pull apart the elements of a film and what works and what doesn't work when you're trying to tell a novel and turn it into a film.
When you were talking about Berlin, have you been to Berlin?
Yes, I was there for about 4 years doing some work at the film festival, bringing Indigenous film there to their film market. And it's the greatest city ever. I really love it. I miss it. I wish I could be there. They're doing a virtual festival almost about now. It's actually starting in a couple of days. So I'm not there this year, and it's sad, but yep, I've been there. Great city.
The same, been there too. Just one time, but also went to um, Berlin in Germany for my
Yep.
25th birthday.
Oh,
That was
great.
nice.
That's amazing.
I mean, I didn't buy the ticket. My sister did, so that was kind of nice. They were living there at the time.
Oh, amazing. Perfect. That sounds like an affordable trip.
Yeah, but the airplane was coming back from the U.S. It was like 17 hours to get back and forth.
Mm. Yeah, well, yeah, to where you are for
Yeah,
sure. It takes me about 9. So sounds like you have a bit more legwork.
yeah. Well, I think that's about all the questions I have. Thanks so much for doing this with me.
No problem. I hope some of that resonates with your viewers in your uncles and dads group.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.